The CBSE has finally revealed its evaluation criteria for Class 12 students. But while the suspense may be over, it is past performance that will hold the key for their future. And most students are questioning if this formula is really fair, because many say they didn't take the 11th standard exams quite as seriously, and now what happens after the 12th depends on exams which are long in the past. What will be the fallout of the CBSE assessment formula? We'll do a deep dive. Here is our lead story.
The suspense for over 10 lakh students has finally come to an end. After endless uncertainty, the CBSE has now given clarity on exactly how students will be assessed. The board has finalized a 30 plus 30 plus 40% formula, a marking scheme that will take into consideration Class 10 and Class 11 marks. 30% weightage will be given to Class 10 exams, and marks of the top 3 subjects will be considered. The 30% weightage from Class 11 exams will be based on average marks of all 5 subjects in term, unit and final exams, while 40% weightage will be from pre-board and practicals of Class 12. CBSE's announcement was met with mixed responses from students.
Providing this criteria wherein 30% marks of class 11th are also being used is not actually a fair assessment. I feel that this is not a proper assessment for calculating the class 12th marks of a student.
I find the decision as very appropriate taken by the CBSE board for the cancellation of the board examination, as it is in the favor of all the students. Because in this present scenario, it is very much difficult for the CBSE board to conduct the examination.
The large part of the board exams and why they were considered important is that they provided us a standardized scale on which students' academic rigor could be evaluated accurately and correctly. However, this accuracy is not possible when there are so many different schools offering so many different exams at so many different difficulties.
I'm satisfied with the assessment criteria given by the CBSE board. However, I have lost the opportunity to enhance my marks. But I do understand that in this situation, we cannot do anything about it.
Teachers too are apprehensive over the marking criteria, particularly stressing on Class 10 and 11 results.
Still, I would feel that the percentage for Class 10 can still be lowered, so that there might be few children who would be benefited out of their Class 10 result, and there might be some who might not be benefited out of this result.
The announcement by CBSE ends months of speculation for students. Remember that students still have the option of appearing for exams if unhappy with this criteria. The results will be out by July 31st, a deadline set by the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court has accepted the valuation criteria submitted by the CBSE and ICSE, but has said that there must be timely release of the results and a grievance redressal mechanism so that students can raise disputes, if any, about their results. Class 12 results likely to be released by July 31st. With cameraman Sachin and Ashutosh Mishra in New Delhi, this is Anisha Mathur for India Today.
So 30% of the weightage comes from your top 3 subjects in your 10 standard. 30% is based on the 11 standard final exams, and 40% on Class 12, which is your unit tests, midterm, pre-board exams. Is this fair? And even if it isn't, this is the norm now. So how will this impact college and university admissions? There's a lot to talk about. Hundreds of questions in my mind, as I am certain there are in yours as well. Joining me on this broadcast, I want to welcome first Neena Kaul, Principal of the Heritage School. We have with us on this broadcast Dr. Rajendra Pawar, a well-known educationist, chairperson of NIIT University. We've got 2 students. We've got Punya Sloka Parija and Palak Deda. So let me go across first to Punya Sloka Parija and get his sense of the norms that have been laid out. Is this, first, there's no easy, simple or correct answer. This was a difficult situation to start with. Given the challenges the CBSE was dealing with, are you satisfied with the formula that's been worked out?
Sir, I believe there are again 2 sections of the society and students. One who are definitely happy with it, and the other who are not so happy with it. Unfortunately, tonight I am on the not so satisfied community. I know what is more or less expected out of me, but I don't know how to do it any differently. all the arguments which have already been passed forward by the unsatisfied people, uh, there might be, there are some arguments who are telling that they shouldn't consider the class 10th marks. Some are telling they should consider class 10th marks. Some are telling the ratio could have been different. It could have been 60-20-20. It could have been 50-25-25. But I believe in such a scenario, what we are facing right now, I don't think there can be any definitive formula for it. Whichever formula the CBSE comes up with, I believe there will be someone who is going to be unsatisfied with it. So I really don't know, sir, what formula should I really suggest regarding this.
Okay, Palak Dida, your sense, Palak, of the formula that's been laid out, does it go to your advantage? For example, are you happy? Does it make your life easier, your admission chances brighter, or are you unhappy?
Sir, actually, I'm unhappy with this decision because I guess that by this, our percentage is going to get affected. Like our college admissions are going to get affected because many students, they work very hard in class 12 in order to get enrolled in good colleges. But this time, our percentage is totally based upon our 10th and 11th marks. So in 11th, many students didn't score good. So that is definitely going to affect our percentage, and it is like I don't support this this scenario. Like I
want to go across to Dr. Sanyam Bhardwaj, examination controller for the central board, and a very crucial person because has been involved in putting together this evaluation criteria. And you've heard, Dr. Bhardwaj, from students who are essentially saying that we weren't quite as serious about our academics and exams in class 11 as we were in class 12, and if you give 30% weightage to class 11 examinations, that is unfair because that will drag our percentage down. We would have done better in the class 12 board exams that didn't happen than we did in our class 11 exams, which did happen, and therefore now your actions have dragged them down, hurt their prospects. Respond to these students, sir.
I would say, first of all, they should leave this thought that anyway this decision of the board is going to put them behind. My assurance to them, because I had gone through the policy, we have prepared the policy, each and every aspect has been seen by us, and how this has been seen I will just explain over here so that all the students are satisfied. Once we are taking the 30% component of the theory of class 11th in that particular subject, say in case I have opted physics in class 11th and class 12th also, so 30% of the theory will be taken to the 30% theory of physics in class 12th. Now thereafter the result committee of the school has been given the power to moderate the marks, for which we have decided a number of 5 per subject. So 25 marks are over there, for 5 marks for each subject, that this much of marks can be moderated by the school, and if any student has not performed well in any case in class 11th, then this moderation policy will take them to the position where they would be put to the beneficial place. In addition to this, what we are saying that this moderation policy will be put to the place when we will compare this policy or the result of the last 3 years, best 3 years, that result will be taken into consideration for the
no, sir,
moderation.
But there are so many variances in the manner in which schools do their evaluation. There are some schools which are very strict and proper. They are checking students and being very thorough in their marking, and then there are some schools with no disrespect to them, but schools which aren't quite as careful, and therefore they're more lenient, or they let students have an easier time. And if that's the case, suddenly you've got both these students having to compete with each other to get into top universities and colleges, which is really unfair.
No, what I am saying to you, just try to understand what I am saying to you. Say one school has given the 3 result, and we are taking the reference year, which is the best year for that particular school. So in any manner, when we have to moderate the marks of the student of the 2021 with the reference year, so certainly the marks of these students will be upgraded towards the higher side, and that is going to change the game of the student for the performance purpose. So they will be certainly getting the better result, not the bad result. So I can say to you that wait for the day when the result will be declared, and I feel that no student will be dissatisfied with the performance which will be given by the board with the help of this policy. We have seen this policy after implementing this policy on the previous year data also, and therefore the entire committee, with a very judicious mind, looking into the favor of the student, has decided that no, class 11 should also be taken into consideration.
One second, pause
because
that thought,
is the only
because
class
I'm just going back to my days in school and imagining what would have happened had this happened when I was in school. And frankly, if my 11th exam results had carried forward and mattered for my 12th standard board exam results, that would have been really unfair, because I didn't study quite as hard and didn't get quite the same kind of marks in my 11th as I did in my 12th. And because that's like an exam, you take it fully seriously. In the 11th standard, you've just kind of come to higher school, you're slightly more chilled and relaxed than you would be in your 12th, and therefore, to now suddenly tell me, after I'm already preparing for my board exams, that your pre-boards matter, your terms matter, and your 11th matters. You're saying nobody would be unsatisfied? I mean, if I was a student at this moment, I would be unhappy with whatever numbers you came up with on result day, sir.
No, first of all, we should understand that this is a very specific year. We never wanted that no examination should not have been conducted. Okay, but because of the pandemic, if we have to take care of the health issue of our students and teachers, so we have called off the examination. Now, in such scenario, no one can be better than the board to see the benefit or the advantage to the students. And keeping that in view, whatsoever is the performance of a student in class 11th or in class 10th, we had given lot of ample opportunities to the committee to upgrade the result, to adjust the result according to the current year performance of the student. So when this is over there, I feel that the result is going to be better. No student would be having any problem. Moreover, when each school is giving the best result of the past 3 years and 5 marks will be added to each subject, that would be, in my opinion, that result is going to be improved by 5% at least.
Okay. Dr. Rajendra Pawar, as a long-time educationist, what's your sense of how this 30-30-40 formula will impact the net average percentages that are likely to emerge once CBSE declares the final results? Will it make it easier for students like Palak and Punya Sloka, Parija to get into college, or will it make it tougher? Is this too ambiguous and confusing?
So let me break it into two parts. One is how should they be given marks based on what they did in 10th, 11th and 12th. That's one part. Second is, how should the universities where these students have to go, how should they view these marks and what else should they do? I want to touch on that part first, and then I'll come back to the 10th, 11th, 12th question. I think it's time that universities take this issue seriously and don't just deal with one number. I think nobody will disagree if I was to say that one number doesn't capture everything. We are too obsessed by one number and one performance.
No, so what are you proposing?
So I am saying, like many universities have started doing, and it's done. It's not unusual in many parts of the world. While selecting students, give some weightage to a personal interview. Give a third of the weightage. Look for attributes which you've never been able to measure. You could never
while
measure.
That's easy for a private university such as yours, take Delhi University.
No,
but take Delhi University. The moment you say that 30% is based on an interview, then if I am the son or the brother of a big politician, I can get calls across to the chancellor, the vice chancellor, students, teachers, faculty, and I can ensure that I get 30% good marks. So that's not the right way.
See,
because the advantage with CBSE is whether you come from Kanpur, whether you come from Patna, whether you come from Delhi, you have an equal chance to get into our top public universities.
So anyway, I could spend time, I disagree. I could spend time because it's high time we gave some responsibility to universities to see what's coming in. But leave that aside. I think it's beginning to happen. It should happen because we want a holistic development. What are the new education policies saying? Look at that and it'll tell you what we should do, but leave that aside. I think Mr. Bhardwaj has explained the complexity and the difficulty, and that's the real one. I'm presuming they've taken care of two things. If they haven't, they should think about it. See, these students who are coming out this year, class 10 was a safe time. It was pre-COVID, and we were not relying on online classes. Class 12, there are two distortions which have come in, which we have to worry about. One distortion is that online classes have been very, very differentiated. Some schools did it well, some didn't do it well. So for no fault of the student, you may have a performance variance happening, not because of the caliber of the student, but because of the situation of the school and the family's ability to support with technology and Wi-Fi and so on.
That's a very important point you make. That's a very important point.
I want to make.
Can I just go across to Dr. Bhardwaj and get his response on this, because you know.
No, let me say the
I'm coming back to you, Dr. Pawar, in just a moment. Let's hear from Dr. Bhardwaj on this point, because it is absolutely correct to say that everybody didn't have an equal opportunity to learn during the pandemic. Those who had better access to Wi-Fi, better access to laptops, schools with better technological backbones would have had better learning outcomes than schools in rural India or suburban India or small town India, which didn't. How have you accounted for that, Dr. Bhardwaj?
Yeah, in fact, you can recall that from the January 2021, schools have started opening, and during that period we have issued the instructions to the schools that now this is the time when you can call the students to the school and go for the remedial classes and conduct the practical examination. So during that period our schools have worked very hard, and they have taken care of all the kind of students, whether they were having the gadgets or not. If they were having the other facilities or not, everyone was provided the face-to-face learning during that period. Moreover, because it was known to us, so to remove this impact, what we have done, again I am saying to you, when we have conducted the research on the data, and thereafter we had given this question that marks could be moderated based upon the kind of online classes or the different kind of question papers which have been implemented by the schools in the during the examination. So everything will be compensated with the help of the moderation, and therefore we have requested two members from the outside school also. These schools will be able to take care of the students.
Okay, Dr. Pawar, you wanted to make a second point? Let's take that out before I go to the other guest. Go ahead.
I have a thought, though I have to accept, because I've had a close look even in the past at the level of rigor that CBSE have it. So I presume they've taken care of this, and they've found, now you hear Mr. Bhardwaj talking of being lenient. That means there's an inflation. They are planning. They are taking the best of 3 years. So there are many things being done to alleviate the risk. But the second distortion is that if the child, people have suffered differently during COVID times. Some families may have had more tension, some may have had less tensions. This is another distortion. Fortunately, in the Jan-Feb-March period, it was not very much. But if a child had a family where there was a situation, the stress on that may also alter. So my thought really was that class 10 happened at a time when we were neither very dependent on online, and therefore that disparity wasn't there. Similarly, it was, pre-COVID. So perhaps giving that a little more weightage, because what I'm not familiar with, and perhaps Mr. Bhardwaj will be, 11th class is the period when even bright kids sometimes don't take things seriously. So it should be possible to see statistically whether the 11th class results harmonizes with the 10th and 12th. If in large numbers it doesn't, one can consider dropping class 11. Because it's not for brightness.
Okay, Dr. Bhardwaj, you said you've done data analysis, you've done your simulations. Can I request you to tell us what the results of your simulations are? Take any university. Take Delhi University, Mumbai University, pick any, Lucknow University. On an average, do you see admission marks for class 12 for admission to these top universities going up or going down? And to what extent?
No, certainly in the present scenario, I feel that the marks could be a little bit up for the admissions. But we have one very good example with us. Prior to the conduct of examinations, competitive examinations, many universities were just moderating the result of the two different boards by virtue of certain formulas. And this was done in JEE also. So as far as the admission in the universities is concerned, on these same marks, every university can take the admission of the different board student. There won't be an issue, I feel so. And all the things, what is to be done, that all the universities, all the educational system has to think about the student only, and then they have to devise the formula by which the admission could be given to them. So there won't be any issue, I feel, in future as far as this batch is concerned.
Okay, Neena Kaul, what's your sense at the Heritage School about how the new 30-30-40 formula impacts the lives of your students and others whom you've been looking at?
First of all, as an educator, I would like to say that, we shouldn't have waited for the pandemic to make certain changes like the ones we are doing. There are 100 ways of assessing children, and it's good for children to pay attention to all grades equally and be consistent in their performance. It's not about the last day of the examination, whether children prepare for grade 10th or they prepare for grade 12. And in between, they may take it a little easy. But if we really want to look at the performance of the children, which is also lifetime performance, because these habits don't change, it's important that children really work consistently. Having said that, this year has been a very different year since, last year also, it's been really challenging for children. And especially this year when lots of, second wave brought a lot of issues for kids, a lot of turmoil. At the same time, CBSE, I feel, is also confronted with a situation where the entire country has schools which are at different levels of performance. To find any formula is going to be challenging. I agree to that. However, when I look at grade 11 and 12, now in a school like ours, we have a very, very robust assessment system. So we have in-depth records of the children, their performance, their portfolios, their work, their sample work pieces. So it's very easy for us to score the children, be it grade 10th, 11th, or 12th. However, the only concern that I see is that grade 10 scores being added to grade 11 and 12, because grade 10 has a very different combination of subjects. It is not, grade 11th and 12th is far more specialized. Children may not be good with all the 5 subjects in grade 10, but the moment they move to grade 11...
No, but in 10 they're only picking up your best 3 performing subjects, so they're accounting for your concern.
So, see, I'll tell you something. It's not a matter of concern, but yet it is when you look at the large number of schools. Imagine a child who may have done well in English, science and maths, but this child in grade 10, but this child wants to take up commerce in 11th or has taken up commerce in 11th. Now, this science subject is not going to help him in any ways in doing the commerce subject. So we are taking the aggregate of those subjects which may not be directly related to the subjects that the children may have taken in grade 11 and 12. So it's important that we may reconsider grade 10 scores. Either we reduce the weightage or we eliminate. I don't know how fair it will be to eliminate, but at least weightage can be certainly reduced, where children get the benefit of doing well in grade 10, but at the same time, they don't lose also, because the average of the 3 subjects is uniformly applied to all the subjects in grade 11th and 12th. So that can be a little unfair for the children.
Cherry Banga, you're a parent of a class 12 student. What are you making of the formula that's been put out, the 30-30-30, 30-30-40 formulation? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? What are your thoughts?
See, actually, there are mixed feelings because definitely the formula, definitely it must be difficult for the CBSE board also to pull out a formula and imply it. And I am happy when I'm happy about the formula, and because I definitely feel, the gradual performance of the child, it's going to be the child who is consistent in their work will be getting scoring good. And we had fears, like we had our inhibitions initially that, some child who was not, who was an undeserving child might get better marks. But then looking at the formula, I'm happy with the formula, because, but then definitely I agree to the point that maybe class 10 marks the weightage, the percentage weightage can be reduced.
Now, Dr.
Possible.
Bharadwaj, you've said that those students who don't like this formula or think it hasn't done them justice can take an exam later. Now that COVID numbers are coming under control, do you have any sense at this moment of when this re-exam can happen?
But then, as you see,
First of all, I would just like to let you know two things. Yeah. First of all, I would just like to let you know two things. One is the concern regarding class 10th and the another one is class 11th. While addressing the concern of class 10th, what has been done, we are going for the aggregate of the 3 best marks. That will certainly eliminate the issues which the students might be thinking. Same way, in class 11th, we have taken care of the moderation part, which would be in the hand of the result committee. So whatsoever is the issue pertaining to class 11th, that will be eliminated with the help of the result committee and the moderation. Now, as far as the conduct of examination is concerned, we are planning that soon the result will be declared. We will be asking the student to get themselves registered on the board's website, and if and the condition permits, we will conduct the examination.
Yeah, definitely. I went through the formula, the assessment thing, the criteria. I went through it, and actually, see, definitely there will be some kids who will be benefited with inclusion of the 10th marks, and there will be some students who will be benefited with the 11th class marks. Definitely.
Okay, Dr. Bharadwaj, you've had a chance to. Are you okay? You've clearly been under a lot of stress and pressure.
So, what is the issue? No. So, the issue is that soon the result is declared. We will request the student to come and register on our website, and thereafter we will be making the effort to conduct the examination even in the month of August only and declare the result immediately after that. And what I am thinking that there won't be more students.
Okay, he's clearly under stress. Nina, call.
Who would be coming for the?
I don't want to get you to talk when you're coughing in the way. Just have some water, and hopefully you'll be fine. The CBSE has also been under stress. It's the kind of exam the CBSE has been put through, Rajendra Pawar, to which there are no easy answers. There is no correct answer. Even if they'd done some other formulation, there would have still been people with justifiable reason who'd been unhappy with what Dr. Bharadwaj and his team would have done.
It's a very unenviable role at this time. It's very difficult, but I do know they do a lot of statistical modeling, and as we can see, they're looking at a few ways by which they're being more liberal. Now, of course, if it generally inflates everything, then students for those universities which only look at percentage, maybe international ones will be different. Otherwise, it will be uniform. So there is a clear intent to be liberal. There's a clear intent to give flexibility.
No, sure, but there are,
checks.
Leave the heritage school aside for a moment. There are schools in small town India, rural India, where they may not even have data for what happened in class 11 for certain. And some of these pre-boards, etc., which you're assuming have happened in a very organized fashion, may not have happened in as organized a fashion. So what happens there where the class 11 data, for example, is not available? Some flood came, the data is gone, there's a school. How do you deal with that, Dr. Bharadwaj?
Which is why, Rahul, I'm saying we are putting extraordinary pressure on CBSE and the school system. We are putting no load on the university, which should invest time to look seriously at students who come in.
Dr. Bharadwaj, how do you deal with schools which may not have all this data as readily available as some of the top schools, Dr. Bharadwaj?
Rahul, one thing I will say, one thing good the COVID has done, it's done a lot of bad, is that online has come to a level where certain transactions are being done by everybody. So if universities and the faculty put their best foot forward and are willing to spend time to make a judgment, and it has to be done at some point. It is too mechanical right now.
Okay, Dr.
This
Bharadwaj.
is as good a time as any.
Dr. Bharadwaj, how you said university, college admission percentages are likely to go up. You've done a lot of robust data modeling. You have a sense of what it may be like. Tell us how much will it go up by? Dr. Bhardwaj? Okay, he clearly doesn't want to answer that particular question. Dodged it thrice over, but that will also keep the suspense going. I tried my best to get an answer, but it didn't work. For the time being, Dr. Sanyam Bhardwaj, Neena Kaul, Dr. Pawar, Cherry Banga, Punyasloka Parija, Palak Dheda, thank you for joining us, and especially to Palak and Punyasloka. Hang tight, guys, This is unfair. It's the kind of force majeure which is beyond anybody's control. This is just a roll of the dice which has fallen a certain way, and you're the years that are having to deal with it. We feel for you. I really, really do. It's a tough, unenviable position for anybody to be in. But life's long, and I'm sure there will be a way found to be able to deal with the adversity. And I think, as Dr. Bhardwaj says, there will be another exam. So if you don't like the numbers, there will be an exam. A year might be lost, which is not ideal from any perspective, but at least there will be another shot, and it's not the end of the road. So keep that in mind. Thank you for joining us. I'm slipping into a break. When we come back, in the Ghaziabad case, cops have filed an FIR against a SP leader for communalizing the assault on an old man. Was there a deliberate attempt to create disharmony? That story and more on the other side. Stay with us.